or Lucas? All right, wonderful. All right, so others will be on their way soon. Let me share my screen with you. Let's get right to it. All right, everyone. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, Beshalach, meaning, and when he sent, talking about Pharaoh, is a pretty significant chapter, or I would say Torah portion, which consists of 5 different chapters. It's huge. Okay. Chapter number 13 is talking about how, they left Egypt and how, they took the bones of Joseph with them and how they were traveling. And so that was the first part of their departure and how the Most High was with them during their camping. And then chapter number 14 talks about how the Most High splits the sea for them and how he destroys the enemies of Israel. Chapter number 15 is about the song that was sung at that sea by Miriam and the women of Israel, and along with Moshe, it was his song too. So we have a lot of songs going on. And then also too, how in chapter number 15, they came to a place of what they would call Mara. And Mara is a place of bitterness where the water was bitter. And in chapter number 16 is the chapter that talks about the complaints of the meat. They wanted meat and they wanted bread, which the Most High had given them manna and had given them quail. And then chapter number 17 goes on again to talk about their complaints. Okay. So basically, over the last 7 days, we've been hearing nothing but complaints, complaints, complaints. We see the Most High saving his people from their enemies. And even after all the power and all the display of his majesty and his glory, you still see these individuals that are bent on complaining. Okay. And so, that's the idea behind this. Now, when we understand that the Most High had delivered the children of Israel, we're talking about literally millions of people. Okay. It ranges around 650,000, I think 600,000 plus men of war, not including the women and children. So again, we're talking about millions of people. Okay. So these millions of people are going through this sea of Suf that Yah has divided for them. And we're all familiar with that story. But there's details that we need to look at. Every time we go through a Torah cycle, we're supposed to pick something up new from it, right? So we don't want to just regurgitate the same things over and over and over again and say, okay, well, this is boring now. I've already know that he opened the Red Sea for them. We know that he destroyed his enemies. We know, that he killed the firstborn. We know these things. But what is it that the Most High is trying to tell us? Okay. So every Torah cycle, you're going to have something new, okay, that you're supposed to pick up. So this Torah cycle, what I'm able to pick up from this week is the fact that the children of Israel are always in a state of complaining. Prior, I just knew they were complainers, and it seems like there are people who are always just unhappy, right? But there's more to that, and there's a reason for their complaining, and I want to bring that out. They're in the desert. The whole community of the people of Israel, they grumbled against Moshe and Aharon. The people of Israel said to them, we wish Yahweh had used his own hand to kill us off in Egypt. There, we used to sit around the pots with meat boiling, and we had as much food as we wanted. But you have taken us out into this desert to let this whole assembly starve to death. They're blaming Moshe and Aharon for this situation. Okay. They're saying that Moshe and Aharon, right? That's who they're complaining against. Okay. That's who they're making their complaints against. And they're thinking that they're the ones who brought them out. They said, you have taken us out. You guys, plural, you and Aaron have taken us out into this desert to let the whole assembly starve to death. Question is that true? Well, yes, it is true. Moshe and Aharon are the ones who led them out of the wilderness. but it was Yah, by Yah's hand and by his command. Okay. Or are they starving to death? Anyone want to give an answer? Were they starving?
No.
Yeah, they were starving. They had been out there for over 30 days since they left Mizraim. They were starving. That's true. Okay. So the question is if they're starving, right? Because they are, and there's other scriptures that prove that Yah starved them. He stalled them out like you would an animal. Okay. And there's a reason why he's starving them. Okay. Now listen, up front, we're going to get some, pushback. People are going to be upset about what is going to be spoken here and what it is that the Most High is going to tell us. Okay. Because this tells us something about our Creator that a lot of us don't want to hear. We've been told that the God that we serve should be the God who doesn't allow people to starve. We've been told that the God that we serve is supposed to make everything, peaches and cream. Nothing's supposed to be difficult. The people of Israel had a legitimate complaint. They did. Okay. So when they're grumbling, they're complaining, right? They had a legitimate complaint. They're starving. When you're starving and you don't have any food in your stomach, you begin to start feeling a certain way. Okay. So the fact is that this is true. They were starving. But what they were doing is, and the Most High put them in that position to starve. Okay. And we're going to talk about that, why the Most High did that. But I want to deal with what complaining means. Okay. In the Hebrew, this word complaint, or what they would say grumbling or murmuring about, is this Hebrew word called loon. Okay. Loon. Right. Loon is to lodge. Okay. It means to lodge. Okay. It means a complaint, but it also means to lodge. It means to take up a residency. Right. So it means that, to spend a night somewhere and to abide in a certain place. And it means to literally stay in one position. Right. And you're staying there like you're lodging at a hotel, or you're on vacation, you're on a state, you're staying somewhere. So this is where they were. Okay. So this complaint started when things started to change in their life. Right. So the first thing that they wanted to do is they wanted to complain because obviously, everything for them changed. They were promised that they were going to be delivered, and they were promised that they were going to be saved, and they were made all these promises. And the Most High has kept his promise. He just didn't keep it in the way that they wanted it. Okay. And so that's what caused them to cause this looning. Okay. Or what you would say, this bleating like sheep. So could you imagine over millions of people crying about how hungry they are? So they sounded like bleating sheep, bleating, bah, bah, bah. Have you ever heard herds of sheep just crying out? That's what it was, but it was literally millions of people. So it wasn't just the men, it wasn't just the women, it wasn't just the children, it was everybody. Everybody's crying out. They had animals with them too. Were they eating? No, they were crying too. Everybody, remember, as we've been discussing over the last few weeks, the Most High only answers when we're in a state of crying. Okay. And the reason why is because Yah wants to do something to us. He wants to bring us to a place of dependency. Right. So he puts them in this position because what they're used to, they're no longer in it. They're no longer in their comfort zone. Okay. The comfort zone that they were in was, hey, we're oppressed, we're getting beat, we're getting whipped, but at least we're getting fed. Right. Our children are being taken and killed. We would rather deal with that just so our stomachs can be full. So it's a matter of being in your comfort zone. So this Torah portion in chapter number 16 is talking about your comfort zone. This is just one aspect. It's not the whole entire Torah portion. This is just found in chapter number 16, okay, where they're just in their comfort zone. They're making complaints, okay, because things for them have changed, okay. The changes that they're going through, everyone, is very, very uncomfortable. We hear a lot of people, a lot of scholars, a lot of teachers, a lot of pastors, a lot of rabbis, even people who just don't even know anything about Israel, talking about what a terrible people they are and how they're always complaining and complaining. They had a legitimate complaint. That's what I'm trying to show you. The Most High understood that they had a legitimate complaint because he knew they were hungry. He's the one who did it to them. Okay. So what they didn't want, though, is they didn't want the change. Anytime there's going to be change in our lives, it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay. And so we see that in our Torah portion, but we understand too that change is necessary. Change is necessary. It's absolutely necessary for us to, in order to grow and in order for us to come to a different place, a different mindset. Okay. So because of this hunger, because of this is something that Yah has caused, just like he did in chapter number 15, Yah brings people to a certain place, like he did with the children of Israel. He brought them to the water of Marah, right? He brought them to Marah, the place of bitterness. Did he not know? Is he not leading them? Is he not guiding them? Yes, he is. So he brings them to that place, knowing that they can't drink the water. He knows that. But he's bringing them there and using the environment to teach them, to tell them, hey, this water's bitter. You can't drink it. But if you're going to deal with me, I can change your bitterness into sweetness. I can change the water that's polluted, that brings disease. I can bring that to healing. I can heal you, like he told him in chapter number 15. Okay. So every time that you see the Most High dealing with Israel, everyone, he's using the environment, he's using the elements to teach them. Okay. So number one, I have the power of the Red Sea. I have the power of the wind. I have the power of the water. I have the power of the birds. I have the power of everything. Okay. So he has to teach them because they don't really know Yahweh, right? So they don't know him. And what Yah is communicating to us is because you don't know me, you really don't know me, right? You're going to have to go through some hard times and you're going to have to be taken out of your comfort zone. Okay. For a lot of us, when we came into this new way of life, things for us is very difficult. You had to give up, things that you ate. You had to give up certain people. You had to stop dealing with certain, television programs. You had to stop listening to certain type of music because it wasn't beneficial to us. So what we see even in their story, which is our story, is that Yah will stall you out, meaning that he will take things away from you and remove them out of your life and cause you to go through a process literally where you're starving. Okay. You're having a craving for not just food, but desires for the things that you used to do that you can't do anymore. Okay. So it's not easy. All right. So I don't want us to look at this as Israel is just a whole bunch of crybabies. The Most High caused them to cry. Okay. Yahweh said to Moshe, here, I will cause bread to rain down from heaven for you. After he hears this complaint, right? The people are to go out and gather a day's ration every day. By this, I will test whether they will observe my Torah, meaning my instructions, or not. Okay. So the Most High has decided that I'm going to deal with the children of Israel in a way to find out whether or not they're going to keep my instructions. Okay. Not a whole bunch of religious practices, people. The Torah is not about religious practices. The Torah is not about religious observances like the book of Romans talks about, calling religious observances of the law. It's about literally following the directions that the Most High has laid out. That's how simple this is. So the Torah is really like just, I'm pointing you in the direction I want you to go. I'm going to lay down the instructions for you. I'm going to find out whether or not you're going to do what I'm telling you to do. The Most High decided to use their hunger to find out whether or not they're going to keep the Torah. How does this work for us? What's the test? Well, according to what he's talking about, when he talks about bringing them food, what he's talking about is bringing them called lechem, okay? Lechem, right? That's the word for bread, okay? Lechem, that's your word for the day, lechem, okay? Not lechem, lechem, okay? Lechem is bread. All right. So this bread here, lechem, is what they're after. And the Most High knows this. Okay. And so he's putting them in a position to test them by this in particular substance, which is pretty significant for us. Okay. It's not any ordinary bread. The word lechem does not only mean bread, but it means battle. And you say, well, where do you get that from? Well, if you think about bread, right? When we think about bread, when you're eating bread, what are you really doing when you're eating it?
I guess you're fighting hunger.
Yes, you're fighting hunger, but you're going to devour. You're going to devour the bread. Okay. You're devouring it. You're destroying it. Okay. You're destroying it. Right. When you're eating, that's what eating is. Okay. When you eat bread, you're devouring the bread. Okay. So the same word that's using for bread is the same word that's used for battle. The same word for devour, the same word to destroy. Okay. That's why Yah is using this. He's using bread to find out, to test them. I need to test. Okay. So what I have to do, Yah is saying that I'm going to destroy something. Okay. And what Yah is trying to destroy, everyone, is Israel's dependency on Mitzrayim. That's what he's using here. That's why he stalled him out. Okay. That's why he starved him out. And I say stall like he did with the goats and the lambs, on the 10th day until the 14th day. He stalled him out. He didn't give him anything to eat. Okay. Meaning that they're starving. Okay. There's nothing, right? So you're in a desert. There's no water. There's no food. There's nothing. So there's a battle that's going on. And Yah wants to destroy, okay? He wants to destroy something within the children of Israel, which means that the Most High wants to destroy something that's within us. And he's going to tell us what it is. Yet they sinned still more against him, rebelling in the wilderness against the Most High. This is not found in your Torah portion. This is found in the book of Psalms, chapter number 78, okay? Is giving us some additional information about the children of Israel and really telling you about their complaints, right? So it says, in their hearts, they tested Elohim by demanding food that will satisfy their cravings, okay? So what we see here, again, is this idea of a battle, okay? So we got a battle going on, right? So the battle is, number one, Yah says, I'm going to test them, but the children of Israel tested Elohim. See? So it's a test. It's a battle. And literally, a battle is a fight. There's a fight going on with the children of Israel and Yah. But the children of Israel are attacking Moshe and Aharon because they don't really want to let everyone know that they're fighting against Yah. They think that they're tricking him, like they're going to use the people that he put in front of them to go off on them, okay? Instead of telling them, hey, why did the Most High do this to us? So they're saying that Moses and Aharon did this, okay? That's what they're saying, okay? But they're testing the Most High. So that's the fight too. So it's a battle, okay? So they're fighting against the Most High. They're testing him by demanding food that would satisfy their cravings. Yes, they spoke against Elohim. This is in their complaints. And listen to what they said. Okay? This is the inner man. This is what was going. This is the conversation that you don't hear about in the book of Exodus. You didn't hear this in Exodus. So this is a revelation that the Most High gave to one of the Leviim, how the children of Israel were talking in their tents when they were complaining. This is the complaints. So now we have a clear picture of what were the complaints. The complaints are, can Elohim spread a table in the desert? True, he struck the rock and water gushed out until the valleys overflow, but what about bread? Can he give that? Can he provide meat for his people? So you see again that this right here is what? This is a challenge. They're challenging the Most High, okay? And they think that he doesn't hear them. He thinks that he doesn't know their thoughts. He thinks that they don't know, right? So what the Most High does is he says, I'm going to give them some bread, right? And he gives them what they would call manhu, okay? Manhu. And some of us know that as manna, okay? Manhu means, what is it? What is this bread? What is the Most High going to use in order to destroy that which is in us, to destroy the complaints, to destroy? You ask, well, where's the basis of the complaint? The complaint is literally coming from their past experiences. Okay. That bread right there that the Most High gave to them is something that's unknown. That's what manhu is. What is it? Because when they saw it, they were like, manhu, what is it? Right? What is it? What is this? It's unknown. So we're not talking about regular bread here. We're not talking about that. Okay. So what did the Most High do? According to the book of Deuteronomy, he says he humbled you, allowing you to become hungry. This is like a really soft translation. It really says starved you. He put you in a famine type of position. Then he fed you with man. So you might hear that used as, instead of them putting manhu, he says man, which is manna. The Hebrew name for manna is man. He says, which neither you nor your ancestors have ever known, to make you understand that a person does not live on food alone, meaning lechem alone, but on everything that comes from the mouth of Yah. Okay. The bread that Yah is going to give to the children of Israel, everyone, is divine. Is divine. Everything that comes out of Yah's mouth is divine. Okay. What's divine about it? What's so divine about this bread? Okay. Well, let's read. So he commanded the skies above, and I'm still in chapter number 78 of Psalms. He commanded the skies above and opened the doors of heaven, and he rained down man. Okay. Not man, not a human being, but man on them as food. He gave them grain from heaven. Mortals ate the bread of angels. Okay. He provided for them to the full. When I first read this, I was thinking, okay, my attention was, drawn to the man, because that's what we've been talking about, right? That he opened the doors of heaven and he rained down man on them, manhu, right? He gives them this divine bread. But one thing that I didn't look at before, which I did this time, was I looked at when it said he gave them grain from heaven. Mortals ate the bread, the lechem of angels. We're going to talk about this in a second, because there is no word for angels. I'm going to tell you who they are and what the significance is. He provided them to the full, so he satisfied them. Okay. What this tells us, everyone, is that there is grain in the Shamayim. There's grain on the earth. Okay. The earth has grains. He tells us that the heavens have grains. Do you see that? Okay. You take the grain and then you create the bread from the grain. So where we're getting here is, if we read the text carefully, we'll understand that there's a process, not only that there's grain in heaven, but there's a process where the Most High took the grain and he made bread for them. Yah prepared the grain through the process. He just didn't let the grain fall down from heaven. He actually turned it into a substance. So that's a literal work that Yah has done. Yah told them, you have 6 days to go pick it up. But on the 7th day, there won't be any bread. There won't be no lechem. There won't be no manhu. There won't be no man. Some people went out to go look for it. There was none on the 7th, which tells us that the Most High himself keeps the Shabbat. He keeps the Shabbat. When Yah has given the preparation and he had to go through the process of making this, right, to give provision to his people. Yah will provide. Yah will prepare, but there's always a process. So think about what Yah has done. It wasn't just like he just sent manna down. He was talking that he took the grain from the heavens, created the man, and then sent it down to the earth. So he created this bread for them. He created a bread and a substance, a divine substance that only those who are in the Shamayim were able to eat. So when it talks about, that when you get to heaven, you're going to get there and you never have to eat, you never have to do this, you never have to do that. That's not true. There's grains in heaven. There's fire in heaven. There's chariots in heaven. There's horses in the heavens. In Yah's realm, there are these things that you and I are unaware of. This is a divine grain. It's divine from the Most High. It's not your ordinary, just, hey, it fell out of the sky. Okay. Before I move on, I want to bring this out. The New Testament talks about Christ being the bread from heaven. Okay. So let's ask the question, did the Malachim eat Christ too? Like they tell us that you must eat his body and drink his blood. Did they eat Christ? If Christ is the manna that fell from heaven, I guess they ate him too, right? Okay. That doesn't make any sense. Okay. No one ever eats a human being or an angelic being. Okay. When we look at that word for grain right there, is called dagan. Okay. Dagan. I looked at the text and it says, hey, I just took a little piece of it because I wanted to find out if that grain was the same as lechem, and it's not. It's dagan. Okay. And it says, and he rained upon them from manna, and he ate the dagan from the heavens that he gave to them. Okay, that's what that says right there. What's the dagan? This is your next word. So your first one is loon about complaints. This is dagan. Dagan is divine. Divine what? Dagan is divine grain. That's what it is. And where does it come from? Well, of course, in the Hebrew language, you can find out more about things when you investigate. Okay, you look at the parent, what's the source of the word? So the word dagan, right, means grain, but it comes from a word called dag. Okay, and a dag begins with the first letter of a dalet, which means a door, right? Like we know, which denotes movement, right? Because that's what a door does. It moves back and forth, it opens and then closes. The second letter that's being used in dag is called gimel, which we know gimel means a foot and it means to travel. Again, denoting the fact of moving back and forward to travel. So the word that dagan comes from is this word called dag, and dag is a fish, a dog, okay? And you would spell that in English, D-A-G, okay? And a dog is a fish. So how do you get a fish from grain? That would be the question, right? But when we look at what the letters mean, again, the dalet is movement, and the foot is to travel, right? And this is a back and forth, and the foot is traveling back and forth, the same identical thing that travel back and forth from one destination to the next. That's what fish do. That's what a fish does. It moves its fin back and forth. Okay? And goes back and forth really fast to travel. Okay? So this is where it comes from. And I was like, okay, well, why is it that you're mentioning dag? Why is the grains from heaven so important? And the reason you're going to discover here, let me see, someone put a chat in. What's the, wasn't that also the false fish god? Yes, Lucas. Excellent. Dagon. Dagon is the name of a god that they deified called Dagon. Excellent. Yes, that was, and that's in the Christian faith. Dagon. Ooh, you getting on to something right now. Okay. Because this is since you mentioned it, Christianity, when you look at the Pope, I'm glad you mentioned that, Lucas. When you look at the Pope, when you look at the Pope's head, or you look at his hat, or the turban that he has on, it's the fish. If you look at it, I want you guys to do that today on the Shabbat. I want you to go look at his hat. It's a fish mouth opened, and it's representing the fish god called Dagon or Dagon. Okay. So, and that was the God that they worshiped. Okay. So listen here. Why is it that the Most High is telling us about the grain? Because the fish has to do with abundance, right? Because they are in swarms and they're abundant. So what it is, everyone, is that fish move the way that they move because they are always in anxiety. Fish are very anxious. Okay. So the Most High is using this bread with the children of Israel. He caused them, he's stalling them out, he's starving them out, and he's trying to destroy something in them. Okay. And what he's trying to destroy is the anxiety that they have. Okay. They have a lot of anxiety in their inner man. Okay. And it's spilling out. Okay. So the anxiety is where the problem's at. Just like a fish is very anxious, the children of Israel are very anxious. Okay. What is anxiety? Some of you who are my medical professionals, you know that it has to do with fear. They're afraid all the time. They're afraid that this is going to happen. They're afraid this is going to happen. What if this? What if they're always asking questions? They really don't have any no security. Okay. Right. So a lot of people suffer from anxiety in one way or another. I have in the past, and I still do have some anxiety. And I always have to tell myself lo tira, meaning no fear, no fear. And that's because I had, a surgery that caused me to trip out. So anyway, anxiety is real. Okay. So the children of Israel, their inner person, their inner man is really suffering from anxiety. And that's the reason why they're doing all their complaining. They don't know how to really communicate with Yah. Okay. What can we learn from this? Well, what we learn is when we're doing a lot of complaining is because we're really creating an environment within ourselves. Our inner man is feeling a lot of anxiety. Okay. And so we're going to try to get us some understanding today on how to deal with that. Okay. So the Most High knows that they're very anxious people. Okay. Oh, praise Yah. Lucas just put it up. Lucas just put it up in the chat. If you guys want to see that, he put that up. You can look at that. So the inner man is the one with the anxiety, and that's what Israel is. And what it was, everyone, is that Israel wasn't really ready to go through some lifestyle changes. Okay. And that's what causes this anxiety. Okay. But when you do experience anxiety, you do need to make some lifestyle changes. There's a lot of things that you need to do in order to change that behavior, because that is really like a learned behavior. So lifestyle changes is something that they had to go through. And so they were going to be forced to have to do this. Okay. But the Most High in his sovereignty and his love and his compassion, he understands that his people just came out of a situation where they were beaten, taken advantage of, oppressed, and they were living a certain way. So now everything for them has to change, which Yah has given us a picture about what's going to happen with us. Okay, there's going to be lifestyle changes. So again, going back to what he said, he commanded the skies above to open up the doors of heaven, and he rained down on them the food that gave them grain, which is that Dagon from heaven. And mortals ate the bread of angels. Okay. And he provided for them to the full. He satisfied them. That bread of angels right there, there is no word right there for angel. The actual word that's being used right there is called Avirim. Okay. And Avirim, and I'm going to tell you what an Avirim is. It didn't say a Malach, which is a messenger. It did not say that it was a Seraphim, which is a fiery one. It didn't say it was a Keruvim, which is one of the guardians of the Most High. Okay, these are Malachim, Seraphim. It didn't say it was a Opha, the Ophanim, which are the ones who fly with their wings. It didn't say that. It says that they were Avarim. Okay, so they ate the Avarim, and the Avarims, okay, are what they would call the mighty ones. All right. So in our Torah, it talks about Bashalach, when he sent. So here it says that the bread of the Abarim, they ate a man. So a man now is eating a called, okay? He's eating the actual lechem of the Abarim, okay? And it's the food that he sent to them to satisfy them, to lashava, to satisfy, to bring them to the fullness. So the Most High understood their needs and he gave them what they needed. Okay. So here it is. Now we're talking about this avarim, okay, which comes from avir. And so what is an avir, right? An avir from the parent root, of course, we're going to look at the parent. We're always going to look at the parent. So if you look at avir, it has an aleph and it has a bet right here. Aleph, bet, yod, resh. Okay. Well, there's a parent here. So who's the parent? Well, the parent is going to be the bet and it's going to be the resh. Those are the parents. Okay. So the root of this word is called bar. Okay. So what does bar mean? Okay. So if these are avarim, right, that you and I we're eating their bread, where do they come from? What do they mean? Well, bar means grain. So are these beings of grain? What are they? Right? So check this out. They come from the word avar, okay? And avar means to fly. That's what it means, okay? So listen here carefully. When the Most High gives grain, who does he give grain to? And what is grain used for? Grain is food. Grain is supposed to fill man, beast, and birds. Okay? Man does not fly, and the beasts don't fly. Birds are the ones who fly. Okay? So the Most High is telling us about the ones that are in the Malak, the ones who are in the Shamayim that fly. Okay? There's a reason why he's giving, and birds are filled, okay, according to the Hebraic understanding, a bird will eat a whole bunch of grain before it goes on a flight. Okay? Because if it doesn't get this grain, it won't have the power, okay, to make the journey. It won't make the power. It doesn't have the power to go on its flight. Okay? So it needs a certain amount of power to get there. And the way what powers that bird is its grain that it eats. Okay, because to bar right here is grain, but it also means to feel. So the Most High is using the grain to feel, right? To feel, to give you power so you can do the flight, so you can fly, so you can make the journey, okay? So you can go to your destination, right? So the Most High is telling us something about this lechem, this bread that even the avarim eat that are in the shamayim. Listen to this. The avarim or the avar also means not only to fly, but you got to use your wings. They have wings to fly, okay? They have wings. So the question is this. If you and I, okay, or the children of Israel per se, according to this Torah portion, they're eating this grain and it has to do with a bird, and it has to do with those who are flying. It has to do with having power. What type of bread is it? And I told you it's divine. So why would the Most High give the children of Israel this manhu? Why would he give them this type of grain? Why? Because he wants them to have power. Do you remember what he said? He said that man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High. The bread that the Most High wants to give us, everyone, the grain that you and I are given to eat, listen to me, the man that you and I are given, or the manna, or what they would call the manhu, is the commands of Yah. That's your grain. That's what's going to give you your power for you to make the journey. I told you before that you and I are on another level of being, okay? Israel is eating food that no other human being has ever eaten before, which says that they're different than everyone else. They're eating the bread that the avarim are eating in the shamayim. They're eating grain that's divine. They're eating that which the Most High has given, which is a command. So the man or the manhu is just, what is it? He's telling us what it is. It's Yah's command. That's the reason why he wants us to pick up his words and eat them every single day. So by the time you come to your Shabbat, you'll be able to be satisfied because you already gathered everything you need to gather for the 6 days. Now, if you notice when they gathered, he said that they gathered and he said, don't hold it until the morning, to the next day. Because if you do, it's going to have what? If you kept the manna on the 5th day and you kept it to the 6th day, what would happen to it? You read your Torah portion, right? It would breed worms and it would stink. So why is it doing that? Because it went through a process of death. It's only good for the day. And the amount that you and I are supposed to get is the amount that will satisfy you. Those who gather much didn't have none less. Those who gather little were never hungry. So Yah's telling us that I know that you have a certain amount of appetite, but at least I want you to eat it. I want you to eat, okay? So is everyone going to have the same amount? No. Is everyone going to have a high, degree, a high appetite for it? No. But at least you're eating it, okay? And we know that the manna was measured, right? So you don't need more than what you need. That's what he's telling us. Everyone participated too when they went out to go get that manhu. The children, the women, the men, they all went out, okay? Some people rebelled and went out when the Most High told them not to go out. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But the bottom line is, Yahweh wants us to understand that a person is not going to live on food alone. He's not going to live on lechem. You're not going to live on lechem from the earth. You're not going to live on the grain down here alone. This is something different. Okay, we're going to live on that which comes out of the mouth of Yah. Everything that comes out of the mouth of Yah, and everything that comes out of the mouth of Yah is a command. That's why he's giving them this, so they can understand. Because Yahweh has standards. Yahweh has standards. And you and I are going to have to meet those standards. I know we haven't been told that the Most High has standards, but he has a standard. He does. Okay. And this is by this, I will test them, whether they will observe my Torah or not. I want to find out whether or not they are of the quality of the people that I need them to be in order for them to do what I'm telling them to do. That's what it is. I'm going to stall them out, starve them out, and I'm going to go to battle with them because they want to go to battle with me. And I'm going to show them that I'm the one that you got to live by. Outside of the command of Yah, there's no other way for us to survive. There's no other way. Yah was in the process of calibrating Yisrael. He was dialing them in. And that's what he has to do for us. See, the whole idea of them coming out was to be calibrated. Okay? To be measured out, to make sure that I need to tune them up to what I need them to be. And I'm going to do it in the manner that I want to do it. If I got to starve them and have no water, no nothing, then that's what it's going to be. One of the things that I found this week was that Yahweh has standardized testing. I think Dr. Kavika can understand this. She's a professor at a university. Listen. There's standardized testing for everybody. I want to find out if there's going to be some consistency. I want to make sure that the people that I'm dealing with, okay, get it, okay? You and we're very fortunate. I use that word fortunate. I would say, I don't want to say blessed. I would say that Yah's been merciful to us. Reason being is because back in the day, nobody had the answers to the test. Right now, you and I have an open book test. Okay. So our test is an open book test. We have all the answers. They're right in front of us. Okay. They are. So there's no reason why any of us should fail this test. No reason why anybody should fail the test that the Most High puts, because guess what? Yah is testing. He has to. And this is what he does. He says the mind or the heart is more deceitful than anything else and mortally sick. Who can fathom it? I, Yahweh, search the mind. I search the heart. I test the inner motivations in order to give to everyone what his actions and conduct deserve. I put down there right underneath it, the proper understanding. When it talks about his actions, he's talking about his paths that he's walking on. When it talks about his conduct, it's talking about the fruit of his doings. I'm going to give to you what you have planted. I'm going to give to you what path you're on. Okay. When he talks about your fruit, the fruit, you know that the fruit has a season. So there's a season when you're going to receive for what you planted. So guess what? Everything has a season. Everything has a time. Everything has a judgment. You understand? So the Most High is letting us know that guess what? I'm the one who's going to do the testing. I'm going to test you. I'm going to examine you. I'm going to examine everything about you. I'm going to scrutinize you. And the inner motivations of an individual is really dealing with their emotions. That's what the Most High was doing with the children of Israel, that's what he's doing with us. And this is what he does with everyone. Okay. Yahweh Elohim took the person and put him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. Yahweh Elohim gave the person, the human being, this order. You may freely eat from every tree in the garden, except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You're not to eat from it, because on the day that you eat from it, it will become certain that you will die. Listen, it's about what Yah is talking about. When it talks about the standardized test, the test began in the garden. That's right. When Yah talks and gives anybody an order, which is a command, he's saying that I'm already putting you on the test to see if you will do the command. That came out of Yah's mouth. Man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that comes out of Yah's mouth. So the command is where it's at. You see? So the Most High he puts the command before he puts the food. That's what the problem is. You and I are putting the food over the commandment. That's the reverse. You see, the food will bring you death. You know, like if you don't eat right and you're eating bad stuff and you're not listening, it can bring a lot of damage to you. You see? So Yah uses food all the time. He's using food in this instance right here. Okay. So again, it's about the command. Yah tested him. Yah tested humanity. And he found out that I'm going to try you. And I'm going to do it by what? By your stomach, because your stomach is your life. Look at the standardized testing. After these things, Elohim tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham, and he answered, here I am. And he said, take your son, command your only son whom you love, Yitzchak, and go command to the land of Moriah. You are to command him as a burnt offering on the mountain that I will point out to you. I'm going to test him too. He tested Noah. Hey, go build an ark. Gave him instructions and measurements. Command. And he did it. Listen, if a prophet or someone who gets a message while dreaming arises among you and gives you a sign or wonder, and the sign or wonder comes about as he's predicted, as he said, let's follow other gods, which you have not known. Let us serve them. You're not to listen to what that prophet or that dreamer says, for Yahweh your Elohim is testing you in order to find out whether you really do love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and all your being, all your mind and all your desires. You're being tested. We're all being tested. Not only is the test standardized, but the message that Yah has been given to us has always been standardized. It's been consistent. Moreover, Yahweh sent all his servants, the prophets, again on numerous occasions, but you didn't listen or pay attention. The message was always, every one of you turn back, command from his evil way and from his evil, from the evil of your actions. Then you will live in the land Yahweh gave you and your ancestors forever and ever. Don't follow other gods by serving and worshiping them. Don't provoke my anger with these things your own hands have made. Then I will do you no harm. A consistent message. So again, the prophets' message has been consistent. So when you look at the New Testament or the other writings, if their message does not harmonize with the prophet's message, then you know that Yah didn't send them. If their message is not everyone turn back from his evil way and evil actions, then you know that Yah didn't send them. If their message is don't follow other gods and serving them and worshiping them, and don't provoke my anger with the things that your hands have made, then you know. You see? So the message is standardized. The testing is standardized. Okay? That it means that it's consistent. But what's the purpose of a test? What is the purpose of the test? Yahweh wants to know if a person or someone or anybody, Abraham, Noah, any of us, is deserving of being exalted, lifted up. That word lifted up is called nasa. And nasa means test. Nasa means standard. When you lift up a standard, that means that you lift up a flag. And then you run to this flag for your family when you have a problem, the standard. Okay. It's a lot of different meanings there. Okay. They got a word called Selah in the Psalms that means to be lifted up, meaning to increase your sound. Okay. Nasa also means to bear a burden. Okay. To lift it up. Okay. Nasa also means to forgive. Okay, because you're carrying a load. Okay, so there's all these different meanings, but the one that sticks out the most, according to this Torah portion, is the Most High is testing you and I to prove if you and I are worthy or deserving, or we have the quality of being exalted. That's the purpose of the test. That's the purpose of the starvation. That's the purpose of the command. That's the purpose of everything, to find out if you're deserving, like Abraham, to be called the father of many nations. I've exalted you over all fathers of the nations. I changed Sarah's name. I've exalted her. I changed your name from Yaakov to Yisrael. I've exalted you. Now I want to find out whether or not you are deserving of that exaltation. The only way that Yah can find out is by giving us a command. That's what I want to know. You just don't hand stuff out because I love you. You want to find out if they're worthy or they're deserving of this exaltation. You see? Because Yahweh wants to see. This was the whole purpose of chapter number 16. This is the whole purpose of chapter number 15, chapter 14, chapter 13, chapter 17. The whole purpose of the whole entire story is to see whether or not they would make Yahweh their refuge. Because even when we talk about lifting up, you lift up a standard. You lift up the standard of the flag of the family, exalt that up, because a refuge has to do with a standard. A refuge is a place of safety. When a person would get in trouble, they would run to the flag that they saw with their family in the camp. And it's like, there's our family camp. Let's go to that sigil right there. We know we have protection over here with our family. We know that our brothers are there. We know our fathers are there. We know people are going to be there to fight for us like Yahweh. Yahweh wants to know, listen, I protected you. I brought you to safety. I'm the standard. I'm the one you're supposed to run to when you're in trouble. That's what Yah wants to know. And he has to test us to find out, instead of us doing complaining, will you and I stay silent and look and depend on Yah? The Psalms that mention that silence is praise to Yah. A lot of times we think praising Yah is just a whole bunch of singing and dancing. Sometimes we need to just be quiet and let Yah do what he wants to do. It wasn't, if he opened the Red Sea for them, would he not give them water to drink? He just defeated all their enemies. That's what Yah is trying to see. He wants to see whether or not they were going to make him their refuge. David said, my soul waits in silence. My soul waits in silence for Elohim alone, because there ain't nobody else. Because my hope comes from him. He alone is my rock and salvation, my stronghold. I won't be moved. My safety and honor rest on Elohim. My strong rock and refuge are in Elohim. Because Yahweh is our strength. There is no other strength, because Elohim is spoken once and I heard it twice. Strength belongs to Yahweh. Now, let me tell you what this means. David said this. I was like, well, why did he say I heard it twice? Yahweh has spoken once and I heard it twice. What did that mean? Guess what that means, everybody? It means that he heard it from Yahweh and then he had to tell it to himself. He didn't hear it from nobody else. He heard Yahweh speak once. He said, I heard it twice, because he's the one. I have told myself that Yahweh strength belongs to Yahweh. And that's what you and I need to say. When you're faced with difficulty and you're facing your anxiety, you need to remind yourselves that Yahweh is strength and it belongs to him. Deliverance belongs to Yahweh. Nothing and no one else can take credit for that, because he alone is that strength. Yahweh is that refuge, you see. Trust in him, people, at all times. Pour out your heart before him. Elohim is a refuge for us. Selah. I told you Selah means exalt that sound. Oh, praise be to the mighty Yah. Why? Because ordinary folks are merely a breath. Important people are a sham. They're a lie. If you lay on them, or you lay them on a balance scale, they will go up together as lighter than nothing. They're nothing. Don't put your trust in extortion, and don't put false hopes in robbery. Even if wealth increases, don't you set your heart on it. That was a big thing for me. My confession. Yah says, even if your wealth increases, don't you set your heart on it. When you get a good job or you make a lot of money, don't set your heart on it. Don't put your mind on it. Don't do that. Because if you do that, you're saying that Elohim is not your refuge. If you're going to put your wealth as your refuge, you're going to be gravely disappointed. This is not going to help you in a time of judgment. It's not going to help you. There's too many examples in the Torah and in Tanakh that talk about how they put their hope in things and didn't work out for them. People were throwing their gold and silver in the streets. He said, I don't know why are you getting dressed up and leaving out of exile? You're about to lose everything. Your gold and your silver can't help you. You can't pay nobody to stop what Yah's going to do. See? So no matter what's going on in the world, it's not, listen, let me get it straight. Wealth is not a problem. Increasing wealth is not a problem. It's us setting our heart on it. That's the problem. Don't set your heart on it. Get it, use it, do whatever you got to do with it, but don't set your heart on it. Don't make that your refuge. Don't put all your trust in this, okay, or in this, or false hopes and robbery and all these types of things, okay? Because he tells us that ordinary folks are merely a breath, meaning that if you put your trust in a man, cursed is the man who put his trust in a man. Because he said very important people are nothing but a lie. Compared to Yah, they're nothing but a lie. What we found is that the children of Israel, they put their hope in what they used to be and where they used to live and how they used to live and what they used to eat and where they were. They wanted to hold on. And what they were doing is they were putting their refuge in falsehood. Okay. So Israel has always had a problem of doing this. Okay. It's found in the book of Isaiah, chapter number 28, where it says, because you said we made a covenant with death, we made a contract with Sheol. When the raging flood passes through, it won't touch us. For we have made lies our refuge and hid ourselves in falsehoods. Let me explain this to you. The children of Israel, and the leaders, more specifically in Judah, thought that they had a contract. Okay. They made a covenant with death. How do you make a covenant with death? They had to do this through another God. Okay. They made an agreement, okay, with Sheol, with the grave. Okay. And they said, we're never going to see you. We're never going here. And we're never going to die. And the God that we serve told us that you're never going to die. You're never going to go to the grave. I'm going to raise you from the dead. That's what I'm telling you. Because when judgment comes, which is this raging flood passes through, it said it won't touch us. When they were talking about an invasion that was going to happen to them. And they thought because they made a covenant with death and they told the grave that we're not going to see you, okay, that they were not going to die. And the Most High told them, he said, look, he told us that they have made lies their refuge and they hid themselves in falsehoods. And that's the problem, okay? So when you look at what he's talking about here, you can see the same sentiment when you're looking at the New Testament, okay? Because they're making a covenant with death, saying we're never going to die, and saying that we're never going to see the grave. And that's not true. That's a falsehood. There's a falsehood in the New Testament, okay? Put the colors here so you can really understand what's going on. This is the New Test. The New Testament is the new test. That's your test. That's the test that Yah is using to find out whether or not you're going to obey his command or you're going to obey their commands. Their commands tell you something totally different than what Yah says. But that's your test. And whether or not you pass, it's up to you. It's falsehood. Okay. Also, too, I found, just to be fair, I found that there's falsehood in the Shabbat teaching. There's falsehood. What are you talking about, Akika? You're telling me there's falsehood in the Shabbat teaching? Yeah. There's a falsehood that I'm going to continue to teach about. Here it is. Yahweh said to Moshe, I have heard the grumblings of the people of Israel. Say to them, at dusk, you will be eating meat, and in the morning you will have your fill of bread. Then you will realize that I am Yahweh, your Elohim. Well, where is the falsehood? This is out of the Bible. This is out of the Torah. Clearly, this can't be a falsehood. Yeah, it is. Okay, I'm going to tell you again. If you and I don't understand the language and you don't understand the grammar and you don't know what's being said and how it's being said, you're going to get lost and you're going to be led astray. Okay. So it says at dusk. Okay. Some people call that twilight. Okay. I'm going to show you the lie. I'm going to show you the falsehood. Okay. So at twilight, or what you would say evening. Okay. So for us, we would say, say to them tonight, or when the sun goes down, you're going to be eating meat. At dusk, at twilight, in the evening, you're going to be eating meat. Didn't say that. It doesn't say that. Okay. Listen what it says. It says here, it says, I heard the complaints of the sons of Israel. Okay. Speak to them, saying, Bain ha'arbaim, not at twilight. This is not at. This word bain right here, bet, yod, noon, is not at. Doesn't mean at. That is a lie. Okay. Ha-arba'in. It says at twilight, this is two of them. Remember, I told you ha-arba'in is a dual plural. It's not one, it's two. That's why it has the eem on the end right there. Ha-arba'in. He says that they will eat flesh, and in the morning, Tishavia, they will be satisfied with bread, and they will know, for I am Yahweh, Ani Yahweh, their Elohim, their Elohim. Okay, so let's go find out if what Akika is telling you is true, and let's see the significance of it. They said bain, okay, ha-arba'in. That is not at. So the focus for us is going to be on that word bain to see if it's true, because it makes you think something. Here it is. The word bain, okay, in the Strong's Concordance, bain is an interval. It means a space between. It does not mean at. Does not mean that, okay? And what it says is, and it's how you call it, you say it phonetically spelling, it definition is an interval, and it's a space between, okay? So if it's an interval and it's a space between, then what the Most High was saying is not at evening you're going to be eating meat. He's saying between evenings you're going to be eating meat, okay? So here it is, again, our chart to tell you again, bain is an interval between, okay? This twilight space right here is the first evening. That's the Erev. The second evening is right here. That's the Erev, okay? So that's the second one, all right? Or what they would call the first one, that's the second one. So the interval, he's saying between this time and this time, you're going to be eating meat. Then in the morning, right? That's when you're going to get the manna, okay? So the morning you're going to get the manna, okay? So where is the falsehood? Is it just in the grammar where it says they use the word at instead of between? Well, again, those who subscribe to the Shabbat, remember I told you this is a Shabbat falsehood, they tell you that the Shabbat starts when? When is the Jewish Shabbat and the Shabbat for the Hebraians and a majority of people? When does the Shabbat start?
It's Friday evening.
They said that it's going to start in the evening. And it's going to start when the sun goes down right here. Then they say this right here is the Shabbat. And the Shabbat is going to go all the way through that twilight, and it's going to come all the way back again. And that's where you give your day. That's what they're saying. They're saying the day is night and night is day. Okay. Listen what the Most High is saying. If the Most High said that at this evening, you're going to be eating bread, I want you to think about this. He said in this evening, that's right here. Between, not at, between. That's point and this point. Between that point, you're going to be eating meat. When they got that, when they received the quails, when did they receive the quails?
It's an evening at night.
They received the quails at evening. When did they prepare the quails?
It was the same time.
Same time. Thank you, Kent. They did it. So if they got he said this evening, the quails fell down at the evening. So the quails are in this point right here when the sun goes down, all the way between, he says, between those two times. So the quails are in this time period. That's when they're cooking. That's when they're preparing and everything. So if the Shabbat starts right here at evening, did they violate the Shabbat? if the Shabbat is on the evening?
I mean, for them, yeah.
They violated the Shabbat, everybody. If the
Yeah.
Shabbat starts in the evening and they receive the quails in the evening, that's my point. If they receive the quails in the evening, then how is it that this is the Shabbat? This is the starting of the Shabbat right here. Why did they say the Shabbat starts in the evening? When the Most High gave them quails, they had to clean the quails, they had to cook the quails, they had to bleed the quails, they had to defeather the quails, they had to do all that,
Mhm.
and then they had to eat the quails and everything from this time all the way to this time, to the morning. So is this really the Shabbat?
Nope.
No. You see?
That's a day of atonement. That's
Exactly.
from evening to evening.
All right. So this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. The Shabbat, it starts in the morning. The Shabbat starts in the morning. When was the manna given?
Sunrise in the morning.
Sunrise. When was the manna
Before it
given?
got
In the
hot.
morning. How long did you have to go get the manna?
A couple hours.
You had a couple of
before it
hours
got
because
real
it would
hot.
start to melt. You
Mhm.
understand? At a certain point when the sun came out at a certain time, right? Then he says, I want you to collect the manna for how many days?
For 6 days.
So
And on
every
the sixth
time the
day,
Most
they
High
get
would bring the
portion.
manna out, he would bring it out in the morning. They would gather it before this time, before before it melted. So when he gave the quails, he didn't give the quails in the morning. He gave the quails at evening. And he didn't say at evening. He said between evenings. That's when you're going to eat it, between those two times. So if their Shabbat is correct, then why are they cooking quails, defeathering quails, bleeding quails, washing them, preparing them, cooking them, and eating them during this time, if this is the Shabbat? Because the Most High told us you got 6 days. And on the 6th day, I need you to take a double portion. And on the 6th day, you need to prepare all of your food. You understand? So the preparation period, listen, so it can make sense to all of us. The preparation period for the children of Israel begins the 6th day here. You got all this time over here, all this time over here, all this time over here until you get back to the morning. Don't stress and get anxiety because you think I got to finish before the evening because that's when the Shabbat starts. No, it does not. The Shabbat starts in the morning. Okay. The evidence and the proof of that is not that you're going to receive the quails at evening. You're going to receive it between the evenings. And that's where I want you to cook and I want you to eat and I want you to bleed. I want you to do all that kind of stuff. The quails, not yourselves. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So again, that's another false teaching. There's falsehoods in the teaching about the Shabbat. And you need to be aware of that. Why? Because if you change Yah's word, that means that you're at war with Yah. Okay. You can't do that. Finally, I want to tell you about the quail. Did you guys ever ask yourself the question, why did he give them quail? Why would the Most High give quails? He could have sent anything else. He could have sent a whole bunch of locusts for them to eat. Why didn't he send locusts? They're allowed to eat locusts. Why didn't he eat that? Why did he send them quails?
I never thought about that. No.
That's what I'm saying. That I never did either. Okay. I've never thought about it as well until this cycle. So I asked the question, Yah, why would you give them quails? Why did you send them that? You could have sent them anything else. You could have sent them other birds, that you said that they could have to eat, but you sent them quails. Why? So I did some investigation. Yahweh said to Moshe, I heard the grumblings of the people of Israel. Say to them at dusk, okay, wrong again, between the two Arevs, you will be eating meat, okay, between those times. And in the morning, you will have your fill of bread. Then you will realize that I am Yahweh, your Elohim. The reason why Yah chose the quails is because of its character, okay? The reason why the Most High took them to the water of Mara is because of their character. The reason why he took them to Elam with the 70 palm trees and the water, the 12 wells of water, is to let them know that this could be what you can be, you could be righteous, because that's what a palm tree is. I can bring you to a rest. I can direct you wherever I want to direct you. So Yah uses the environment, he uses the elements of the world to talk to us. Just like when he says that you shouldn't eat certain foods, it's because of their character. So just like he would tell you that a certain bird is clean and certain birds are predators, and I don't want you to eat it because of this, and that, because of their character, this is the reason why he gave a quail. Quails in their character. But what's interesting about the character of a quail is that I did some research and I looked at this article in the Scientific American by Bora Zivkovic back in December of 28, 2011. And it says, on the intelligence scale of birds, the quail hits the rock bottom. It is frankly not that smart. And this is a good thing from the point of view of research on behavioral neuroscience. They don't do much thinking. What Bora is saying, everyone, is that what makes it a good thing for them is that because they're so predictive, like you know exactly what they're going to do. Okay. They don't have too many ways about them that, it'd take more energy to find out. They're so simplistic. Okay. But they're not smart. Okay. So the Most High has used the quail to talk to us. Yes, I love it too, Lucas. I love y'all's sense of humor. So when they're doing all this complaining, oh, guess what? In quails, I'm going to give you a little bit more about their character, right? Check out their characteristics. Quails are not smart. Y'all saying that these people are not that smart. Why? Because I just opened up the Red Sea and they're sitting here complaining about water, right? They're not that smart. No, and I just killed everybody and let them out, right? They think, they're using Moshe and Aaron. These people are not that smart. They can't be, okay? And you do more talking than you do thinking. They don't think. That's what the Most High is saying. That's the reason why he chose the quail. He also chose the quail because they're very, what they call it, social bird, right? They hang out in flocks. That's what they do. They're all flocking together. And unfortunately, does anyone know the life expectancy? What do you think the life expectancy of a quail is?
Well, I'm thinking it's short. Like,
Yeah, it's very short. Ken. It's between 1.5, maybe 1 to 1.5 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah. 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 Indicative of what Yah is going to do with the children of Israel, that first generation. They have a very short life. Remember, they said, we wish that he would kill us, right? Yah heard what they said. All right. So he's sending a message through the quails. Okay. That's what he's sending messages through the animals to tell them what they are to him and what they're like quails to him. That's what he's saying. And he's telling them, just like a quail has a very low life expectancy, so do you. Quails also too, when they get their food early in the morning, and they get it in the mid part of the morning, right? So that's another thing. Okay, so they're social, but also too, quails they're heard, but they're rarely not seen. Okay, so again, going back to what the problem was out in the wilderness, these people are doing all this complaining and doing all this grumbling. You don't really see the quails, you hear them though. Because what they do is they hide. You understand? But they hide because they're afraid, because they're not protected, right? So with that, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to you. Just wanted to give you some little information about why the quail. Anybody have any questions before we get started on our cahoots? Thank you, Lucas, for the info on Dagon. I shut up.